And here we
Welcome to the Chop Shop, fun than pop rocks. Oddfrog Chop Shop, action figures and toy talk. Pop culture comics and maybe Lego blocks. Figures, photos, and culture right here with 112 scale vehicles shifting in gear. Guests that inspire our fun to new heights. Pop culture design, the Chop Shop is live.
And we are live.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Oddfrog Chop Shop. We got Eddie, we got Mikey, and we have some really cool special guests for you today. We'll just pop them in here as we go. We have David Vonner, the legend. We have...
Or do we?
Or do we? We have Gabriella from Killer Kawaii Design. And, guys, special guest of the day,
There's Vonner.
Jason from Brutal Realms. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
The gremlins are here this Sunday, man. The gremlins are all in the in the fiber optics this morning.
Good morning.
Good
We
morning,
got Dead Man
everybody.
in the
Good
chat. Dead Man's not feeling well, so he's not here with us today. But let's introduce ourselves real quick. David, people have seen you on the show before, but you just want to give a quick introduction to who you are and what you do?
What's going on, everyone? I'm Dave Vonner. I am handling the project management duties for Oddfrog Entertainment's Bandito, as well as
Oh my God, it's not working, man. Sorry, guys.
We hear you.
we hear you. As well as Brutal Realm Toys. Also handled the Unparalleled Universe's audience and big fan, big collector, but also a very, very proud member of the action figure community. And everything is for the culture, and we're here to chat about some Brutal Realm stuff.
Fantastic. Okay, and Killer Kawaii, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, and then we'll finish up with Jason so we can launch into the product. What?
You're live.
Yes,
You're live.
sorry.
Oh,
Killer Kawaii crew. I am normally in, but I am slowly creeping my way to the one Oddfrog Entertainment. Been doing a lot of fun projects. Handle all 3D printing, so all 3D printing. I'm the one that's usually doing all that. The voice acting for Myra's Morgue as well, and I was on the Sweet Life of Zack and Cody on 13 years old, so pursuing my acting. To be part of the team.
loving hearing Myra's Morgue of Midnight Madness is pretty badass.
It's great to actually see Myra's Morgue of Midnight Madness in the flesh, in the living flesh.
It's always weird. It's always weird when you put voices to faces. You know what I mean? It's like same thing with anyone who's on the radio. When you meet them at like an event, you're like, "Oh, that's that guy." What?
And then finally, we have Jason from Brutal Realms. Jason, introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Jason Soul, co-founder of Realm Toys. Brutal Realm is our first wave or our first series of action figures with my partner James. I'm a longtime fan of like just entertainment action figures. I've been collecting for a very long time, and that's pretty much it.
Well, welcome to the Chop Shop.
Yeah. So why the name Brutal Realm?
Well, we wanted, so James came up with the idea of doing barbarians. He knew I was interested in creating action figures because I had like a little side project of my own. It didn't go far. James, he brutally told me of what was lacking, and I agreed. So he said, "Hey man, let's do barbarians." And I said, "Okay, yeah, barbarians is awesome. I mean, I love barbarians. I love, sword and sorcery, sword and sandals, fantasy, high fantasy. That's my favorite genre. Like I love dwarves. Dwarves are my race of choice." So he's like, "Well, what should we call these guys? What should the whole wave or the whole series be?" So I started doing some synonyms for barbarians, and brutal was like one of the synonyms. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, let's do this. And I threw out brutal. He's like, yeah, I love it. And he said it's got to be brutal something. And we were thinking of like different worlds. So this world has, you know, full of barbarian heroes and villains and anti-heroes. And we were thinking of worlds and like multiverses. And then we just like, oh, realm. Why not realm? So
Perfect.
realm of realms. So brutal realm came together.
Yeah, and it ties in everything you just mentioned, I think, quite perfectly. And yeah,
Yeah.
I have to agree with anime figure statue collector. I'm a metalhead too, so like, you know, it's got to be brutal. So I love that.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
And so you guys had a Kickstarter. Tell us a little bit about that process.
Well, James, he's the one. He pretty much handled the Kickstarter, and I was, you know, behind the scenes, like looking at everything, making sure, you know, the grammar and stuff was good to go, and as it was going, it was, you know, it was good at first. I mean, it started out, it had a great initial flux, and you know, after a week went by, then it was like San Diego Comic Con, and then we had a HasLab and all that stuff, and then McFarlane had his Kickstarter. Why does McFarlane have Kickstarters?
Right.
I have no idea. But anyway, so it was like really stale and just not moving for like a week and a half, 2 weeks. And then all of a sudden we got a huge push, you know, a couple weeks after that, from all the Big Bad Toy Store pre-orders. And then that just pushed us like a huge tidal wave over the finish line. So we were able to unlock all that.
Yeah, actually, Jason's kind of downplaying everything. I mean, it was actually a little bit longer. It was at a halt because, like he said, it was like the perfect storm of events. You know, the HasLab event had happened, San Diego Comic Con had happened, McFarlane had his thing, and it was like, you know, just a perfect storm of events that happened. Plus, it was Brutal Realms, you know, first outing, you know, really to the mass world and everything. So it was kind of like it stuck. You remember Jason kind of stuck at like 85,000
Yeah. Yep.
for like a while. And then all of a sudden, you know, one of the things that I you know told the guys was to, you know, kind of like my philosophy is to treat it like it's a, you know, treat your Kickstarter like it's a you know, like an album release, or, you know, like a song that you're promoting. Like you got to get on everywhere to promote your brand, promote your product, you know, and not just speak to the individuals like us, but like branch out and go to different audiences, you know. And it just so happened that with Brutal Realm, I mean, it kind of captured not only the action figure enthusiasts, but obviously the photography enthusiasts, the bodybuilding enthusiasts, you know, with Ogun being shown. It was a lot of African Americans had chimed in that normally didn't you know, go towards Kickstarters to you know, purchase items and things like that. So and also with the eclectic nature, like, you know, with the Native American and the African American community and the Asian community, like everyone really, you know, really helped push it along. And just the brand in general is just so diverse without it being heavy-handed with diversity. You know, that was never really like, hey, like, you know, it was never really like just falling, but it just naturally, organically, you know, became what it was. And then all of a sudden it just became like a tidal wave, and it was like an amazing ride to be a part of.
That is awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think it really pulls in. Like, I was just watching Painting with Fire the other day. So if you're a Frazetta fan, like, this is the absolute perfect figure for toy photography and stuff like that.
Hey, so before we go too much deeper, and I'm getting feedback from someone. So there might be some people watching that actually have never even heard of Brutal Realms. I doubt it, but you never know. So how about we go ahead and show the Kickstarter video to kind of give everybody a little taste of Brutal Realms?
Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, let's see if I can do this. Hey, there we go.
We don't have sound, Mikey.
No sound.
None.
Ah.
Brutal Realm.
I don't know.
Wish we had
Somebody do it. Somebody got to do it.
We can have Jason narrate.
Oh
That
no!
is
Don't get me to
rad.
narrate. I can barely even talk.
General Grumskull.
That is awesome.
Yeah,
and
we're having all sorts of technical
The
difficulties
hero.
today. So
the gremlins are in the house, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. The diabolical sabotage.
Mhm.
I mean, the artwork speaks for itself, doesn't it?
Oh yeah.
And
what-
you know that was with Ken
Ken Coleman.
Ken Coleman over in Ireland. And you know, and another thing that made this really cool is really like an international kind of crew. You know,
Yeah.
we all came together, you know, to bring James and Jason's vision to life.
That's
And
badass.
you know, and I think that just the mutual love of fantasy, the sword and sandals, how Jason always says, and barbarians, you know, the Frank Frazetta, the Conan kind of world, you know, it just all really came together, man. And you know, it really just took a whole life of its own as far as even the characters. Like it really just started to steamroll.
Yeah, I mean, I just get story in my head when I'm looking at them, you know, like it's
Here we go more into the actual figures.
very inspiring.
Mhm.
We were heavily inspired.
Killakawai's got
Well, I think characters are really cool, and when I was kind of the lores and everything, I could see definitely has that the toys in your childhood that didn't, and now have this more gory graphics. What is your favorite lore of really represents a character you didn't have in your are now happy that you created today?
So she's asking, what is your favorite lore and what helped inspire the different lore kind of the characters?
So I really don't have a favorite lore. It's pretty much a mix between this feedback. Conan, He-Man. You know, I loved both of those. And when they came out, you know, I was 5-6 years old, so I wasn't like, oh, big awesome muscular man. I like superheroes at the time, but even when He-Man came out, I really liked that, and I loved Cringer. He was one of my favorite characters in Orko. I loved the side characters. But then my dad was a big Arnold Schwarzenegger fan. My dad was a big man himself, and whenever an Arnold show was on, we would either go to the movies or we would catch it on VHS. And just so happened, I watched Conan the Destroyer before I watched Conan the Barbarian, and I was like, "Oh my gosh!" The way even as a kid, I noticed how big the sword was, and I was like, "That's got to be a freaking heavy ass sword." And he's swinging it around like nobody's business. And if you watched one of our videos of me posing, I did a video of posing Cronin, who was inspired by He-Man. He's our blonde hero. He's got the harness, he has the axe, and he has a sword. I was doing a video showing his articulation and how he can move, and I didn't realize it, but somebody who video edited, which is Mega J Retro, he's like, dude, this came right from Conan the Destroyer, Arnold posing the sword. I'm like, it was subconsciously. That's what I was thinking about. I wasn't really thinking about Conan, but that's when I was doing the moves, I was inspired by Conan subconsciously, didn't realizing it. So yeah, Conan, big time, inspired, and Lou Ferrigno. I mean, the Incredible Hulk, right?
Yeah.
And James is like, when we create these characters, I want them to be big, like big characters. Like, I don't know, you guys collect Marvel Legends?
I've heard of them.
The controller build a figure. Is a pretty beefy dude, and James is like, I want our figures to be like this, but with the articulation that Hasbro just fails to put in these figures, which we know is possible that they can do. So we're like, I want, and then I said, and I told him, I said, I want our figures to be able to, two-hand a sword like this, and I want him to be able to hold it like this,
Oh, yeah,
and do
bravo
all the
axe.
awesome poses. So we got inspiration from Mafex and how they do their butterflies. It's very, very interesting. It's very well engineered, and so the shoulders are able to move out and forward and back and up and down. So we were able to make that happen.
So
You know, I
actually
wanted to
show the-
ask you about the shoulders without, I didn't, don't want to give away too much of the engineering, but they are fantastic. I absolutely, you're so right. Like a lot of times those bulky characters just can't move because they're, the sculpt doesn't allow it or whatever.
Mhm.
And you guys got a really nice kind of muscle to function
Yeah.
with that
Yeah.
articulation.
It actually like moves like really naturally, like the
Mhm.
way that some figures have to really struggle to get in natural poses where the brutal realm, because of the articulation and everything, I mean, it looks so human the way that they're posed out, that it's just pretty amazing, and I guess it's funny because when I first saw the brutal realm figures, I mean, I was just like blown away. Like I saw them just like everyone else online, and I basically went to these guys like, "Hey, man, I wanna work with you guys because like this is just amazing." And I knew that I could be able to take them over the top. But when I saw them, I was like, "Man, this is like how He-Man is supposed to be." Like this is how Master of the Universe is supposed to be. And I think because we've all grown and got more sophisticated in our tastes and sophisticated in our collecting habits and what it is that we do collect, figures like Brutal Realm is a natural progression to where our interests are lying. It's like we're past the basic articulation. Me personally, I'm definitely past the same characters over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And just Brutal Realm is just such a fresh take on the lore that we love, the things that we're familiar with, and just the trajectory and the path of where it wants to go. It's even more broad, like with more than just barbarians. I mean, there's going to be, different types of monsters, different type of creatures. There's even, another wave that's being produced now that's going beyond that. So it's like just the whole vision of the line. It just like, I saw it all like a movie, like, man, this is what we've been waiting for and yelling for, even if a lot of us didn't even realize that we were doing that.
Yeah.
And Vonner, just like you said, the characters that we're so familiar with, and they keep making the same characters over and over and over, and they're not getting it right. And that's one of the things that with our figures, we didn't want to take anything that anybody was familiar with, or take something like a character that everybody knows. We wanted to create characters of our own, and give them our own unique spin. Are from our imagination, and they're all pretty unique. And Ogun, I mean, he's from the Yoruba culture. He's the god of iron and god of metals. And not a lot of people know about that culture, including myself. I didn't know a lot about it. And Crowman, who's not from really any culture, he's just one of our own creations. We wanted him to kind of be possessed by the demon of death, because we love metal. And he is a freaking metal ass character, and he's also our highest pre-ordered character. He beats everybody by 100%.
Wow.
As far as pre-orders. Yeah, he's one of my favorites. And General Grimskull, you can see inspirations of General Grimskull, the main villain, and who we took inspiration from. But he's an individual character, and we're just we were just like, what kind of articulation, what size do we want? And for our females, we wanted, like, if the boys are big, the girls got to be big. So we wanted a thick woman.
I was even asking. I was like, "Yo, are you guys sure?"
Speaking of size, Alexander Storm says, "I always thought He-Man was undersized, but these are larger than life."
Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. I thought He-Man was undersized and underarticulated as well, and they could never get his freaking head sculpt right. Never. None of his head sculpts are right on him. But yeah, definitely. And that's what we wanted. We wanted each of these guys, and you didn't have to collect the whole series to get. You didn't have to collect a certain character to get a hero because they're all heroes and they have their own stories. They're not. There's not just one main hero. Although if there was, it would be Ogun.
Okay.
But they all come together to fight the main villain. They all come together to unite against the villain, who is he controls the very shadows of our heroes and brings them to life to fight them. So
That's crazy.
Yeah,
I love that. I look at these things like as I'm creating my own comic book story or writing my own comic book story. It's interesting that you pull these little pop culture things that you've loved forever, and it always reminds me of like learning to draw or something like that. It's like, for lack of a better word, you steal a little bit from all your favorites, and then when at the end of the day you have your own new style and fresh approach. And it's something we can all really relate to. So I love your description of that because I can relate to that a lot.
Oh, for sure.
I forget who said it, but they said before you make it, you're trying to emulate all the people that inspire you. Once you make it, you're trying to distance yourself from everybody.
I mean, that makes sense. You take influence and you put it all together in this culmination of what you think is best from everyone. And then you obviously want to set yourself apart to stand out at the end of all that. So, I mean, I think you guys definitely have done something like that. And the introduction of all like the primal characters, I think that's another level that, that got a lot of people also enticed to jump on towards the end as well. And then, I mean, when you started unlocking the tiers, the female bucks, and then just the buck bodies themselves were just another army builder essentially for people to customize and create their own characters and tell their own stories that otherwise haven't quite yet. I'd say quite yet, because I've spoken to you guys some background, like stories haven't been thought of yet, but you guys are in the works of developing more characters and stuff like that. But I mean, I think the whole line Realm Toys, it's coming together quite nice, man.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
It's amazing, like when we first showed the female buck to the Big Bad Toy Store team, and actually, is it her Myra, right?
Myra,
When she saw it, she just went crazy. She went crazy when she saw it, and I mean, she loved it.
Yeah.
And one of the things about female figures is it's kind of wild when you have like, especially me coming from, all these different toy companies, that a lot of the times, most often, the female figures are done by males, right? And then they're kind of like, you kind of take them around to the team.
That's exactly what I was male.
to show them to like the other females in the team. But what usually happens is that the females are kind of done in the mindset of what a male kind of wants, as opposed to the actual strength of the female, which is one reason why like She-Hulk was so popular, because it broke that mold, right? But a lot of males and female collectors wanted bigger, stronger looking females. And I think that the thinking was that it may come off offensive, or there was just a fear there or a risk there. And I just love the fact that Jason and James just broke through that.
Direction, yeah.
They broke through the fear, they broke through the risk, they even broke through the myth that maybe female characters, can be, just as powerful, as they represent and look powerful and be bigger and stronger. And maybe people will actually like that, and that's the beauty, not only of the team, the Brutal Realm team, but also just like the independent toy, collector movement in general, the toy making movement in general, is that we can kind of redefine all these gatekeeping rules that exist, and realize that those rules are meant to be shattered and broken. So this is like a whole new representation of a female figure.
Yeah, it's interesting, David, because if you look at the male representation in action figures, there's all these different silhouettes, and shapes and bodies, but then the female tends to come out the same.
The same.
Yeah.
The same, always the same.
Yeah. No, this is great. She has like a Gina Carano kind of vibe, like she could be in MMA for sure.
Yeah,
Right.
we took some inspiration from MMA, and we also WWE. Lots of inspiration from WWE.
Yeah.
So if you like it was said, I mean, if you wanted to make your own custom figure, all of her accessories, her helmet, everything, her sandals, her gauntlets, her greaves, her skirt, everything is going to be removable. So you can do whatever you want to these figures.
That's so cool.
And to the point that Dave was that Vonner was making, we're doing something different with a female, something that no one has done before. And we were like, well, let's take a risk with it and make her really freaking big. And, so we had our main figures, right? They were all unlocked for about 6 weeks. I think it was the 7th week we unlocked Athena. And within the day, I think it might have been within the hour.
Yeah.
She had far surpassed pre-orders of all the characters except for Crowman. So she beat within the hour. She was like the second most popular character that everybody wanted.
Yeah,
which we know we took a risk and we were like, yeah, it paid off because this is what we want to see. If our boys are gonna be big, our women are gonna be big.
They gotta be parallel to them and hold their own as well.
They gotta be able to go toe to toe with them. Absolutely.
Well,
and also they're going to be as articulated or as articulate as the men are, as our boys. So we're not doing. They're going to have the same articulation scheme, same shoulders, same bicep swivel, same double jointed elbows and knees, everything. Upper thigh swivel, lower shin swivel, the neck, bottom, and top. Yep.
Which character did you say is the number one biggest pre-order?
The number one is Crowman.
We're talking about female figs, and we actually have a female in the room. Let's get her opinion without the choppy thing. Go ahead.
Well, I just think it's really amazing because it's great universe building. And you have to keep that in consideration. Like, you have these big, bulky characters. You've made it where that is a possibility that girls can be big and bulky too. Because, and if you think of anime and a lot of like hero stories, they're always damselly. And I'm a very more dominant female, right? So is my mom. Like, we're all very dominant. I never could relate to the female character. I never was like, oh, that's the character I really relate to, the one who's begging for all the men's help. That's the one But with these characters, it's like these are really cool, badass females that, a younger female who wants to do MMA, and I used to do jiu-jitsu, would totally want this character. So it's really cool that it could be for both diversities.
Yeah, you're right. The female figures, it's funny how, there's always this talk about female diversity within toys and action figures, but they all wind up looking like damsels in distress.
Right.
And to me, I mean, being heroic and looking heroic is like a spectrum. You know what I mean? Like just like in the real world, there's different types of body types, different heights, different widths, sizes, shapes, and colors, and all that. So why not represent that instead of going with the quote unquote sure thing?
Yeah, the status quo.
The really slim frame, the big boobs, and then that's it.
Yeah.
But it's like push that more because these things do more than just aesthetically look a certain way. They also tell a broader story just by their presence.
Yeah.
Totally, really.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and I think it's it pushes what you can do with toy photography too, because you've got Conan, but there's not like a whole genre yet out there of multiple characters you can get and really set up a scene with villains and stuff like that. So I think just the fact that it's building a world, really can push what you can do with toy photography. Did you guys think about toy photography? I mean, obviously, but was that like a major?
Yeah, this guy's pretty badass.
Design point?
Yeah. So we had Trevor Williams of 1/6 Shooter. do our initial 3 characters, Ogun, Croman, and Cronin.
He's
And
amazing. Shout out to 1/6 Shooter. He's amazing
hell
too.
yeah, he is. He did an amazing job because, and the reason why he did an amazing job is 1, he's awesome, and 2, he took our 1.0 body, which we're not even using any of, and the shoulders were just jacked, but he put them in poses and he made it work, and he made it look amazing.
Yeah.
See that? You can see the swing. You know, that's
yeah.
Right.
That cross body.
It looks like that axe is heavy and it's taking him mad strength.
Absolutely.
I'm saying that. Like you could see them and feel the momentum. You know?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah,
So,
and the anatomy is really on point. That's always a thing for me too, because like I remember in the 90s and stuff going through art college and stuff, and it's like the hyper anatomy was really in, but it wasn't this subtle where, you know, all the proportions work like it would on a somewhat kind of, let's say, marvelized big guy.
Yeah. And speaking of proportions, you know, we wanted that internal, we call it a shoulder. Jesus Christ. Well, the shoulder shroud. I'm sorry, the shoulder shroud that goes inside of the upper torso. That is the butterfly. We wanted to make that as big as the deltoid itself. Not any smaller, not any bigger. So we were just like adjusting the proportions. I 3D printed all these, and I would print them out and be like, oh, this doesn't look right. I think that the butterfly shroud looks too small. It works, and it's functional, but it's just too small. So just trying to get the proportions right and maintaining the articulation was like our highest priority. And you know, since we're fans of the community, we're part of the toy collecting community. You know, when we made our posts and we were showing, you know, prototypes and stuff, you know, we would take people's feedback and listen to them. They're like, oh, the chest is too round, or his shoulders are too small, or his shoulders are too big, or the head is. So we listened to everybody's feedback, and we greatly appreciate it, and we're humbled by all the support that we got. So we listened, and we're like, okay, yeah, you know what, you're right. Let's take another look at this, and that also helped us. So we had like eyes on from not just mine and James and Bonner's, but from, you know, the community itself to help us, you know, shape a really awesome, decently proportioned figure.
And also to that point, to Jason's point, like you know, these guys really did an amazing job of making these figures engineerily sound. And you know, and not only doing that, but also in real time listening to the community and implementing those changes, which is one of the things that you never really see with the major companies, and which is why you're always getting redundancies and the redundancies that no one likes. You know what I'm saying? Because they're doing what it is that's beneficial for them, not beneficial for the community. And these guys really, really listen to the community to make these as engineerily functional, you know, and following the form as possible, you know.
Here's a really good question by Vaz. Where's the progress at the moment with Brutal Realms?
Yeah, they're at the factory right now. We're getting everything together right now. Is Lunar New Year, and so everyone, the entire
Happy Lunar New Year. The year of the snake.
But they're working on, you know, not only getting everything functionally right, but also getting the depot right. We've sent everything over. So right now it's like now the production phase has begun. You know, the manufacturing production phase. You know, so we had the pre-production with everything that you saw, and now we're in the production phase, and then we'll be moving to the post-production where we'll be getting everything, you know, packaged, ready, and shipped. But right now we're in the production phase.
You know, one of the things I really love too is the knees and the elbows. One of the things that drives me nuts on a lot of characters is when you bend the arm, you lose that dynamic kind of edge of the elbow or the knees, and these stay really in proportion. It's nice.
Yeah. I mean, look at the knee itself is, you know, for a normal Hasbro or McFarlane or whatever figure, their knees are like really small, and a lot of times they're like, I don't know what they were thinking, but like our knees are they're just, they're
Size of the leg.
They're a
almost.
knee.
they're
Right.
They're
They're knees.
Yeah, they're an actual knee.
Not a little
right.
teensy tiny little piece of plastic holding the legs together. Like
Yeah, I
And,
love
and
that they're
it
sculpted.
also helps that it's a new sculpt that was targeted to be that, as opposed to reusing something to fit into newer parts,
Right.
which is another issue that we as collectors run into, like, a lot of the times. And I understand the reason why, and you have to reuse parts and reuse tools, but then, like, to create a whole new body takes a major lift. All these and basically is one solid body, is one male, one female that's going to be used throughout, so we can maximize our tooling dollars and everything.
Absolutely.
And also have a nice consistent look, but they were designed the right way and not as an afterthought.
Yeah, I mean, there's incredible variation out of them for having the single body, I think.
I don't think I've seen that shoulder articulation that much. Is that pretty new, or have there been other brands that have done the same thing?
It's Mafex basically. Mafex does it, and they've been
But
using
it's
it.
a lot cleaner,
The thing is, you never see it on a guy that size.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yep. Exactly. So the first Mafex figure that James and I got is the Batman Dark Knight Returns, and he's big, beefy, and he's got those shoulders, and he can do it all. And then Superman from Dark Knight Returns comes,
those are
and he's got the same big. And then Bane, they just released Bane, and Bane's got their shoulders, and it's just like, hell yeah! I mean, this is exactly what we want. This is what we are us toy collectors want in figures. Like He-Man. What if He-Man had these freaking shoulders? It would be, they'd be freaking sold out everywhere.
Yeah.
Getting into poses, and Thundercats, Super 7. I mean,
Well,
they're
and
just-
if He-Man did fresh new characters too, it's
for
like
sure,
that's what I want to see, is like this.
Yeah.
I want to see new.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
Well, I think also too, like, some companies get locked into this is their look, right? And they want to be able to own that particular look and own that particular style. But I think what happens is that, at the end of the day, the consumer is the one that's being shortchanged, because we're just not happy with what it is that we're purchasing. And you're actually starting to see that a lot of a lot of dollars are starting to be taken away from these major companies, whether they want to admit it or not, because for a variety of reasons. But I think that the consumers are starting to get a little, stale on what it is that they're offering.
Well, isn't that why Hasbro made that announcement? They're no longer making toys; they're just like
Well, that was kind of like a rumor that kind of blew up.
like I heard,
They
like,
did.
were,
Yeah, I saw the same thing. Somebody
far as
posted
I
that,
can
and I did see that the CEO of Hasbro has invested $1 billion into gaming.
so
Right,
maybe
but
they
that
might
is true.
back from
That part is
They
true.
are-
Yeah.
That they are moving more towards gaming, more towards board games and everything like that. But there's also the self-fulfilling prophecy that action figures don't sell. If you kind of put that out there, or at least internally, then no one is going to make the effort to try to push it. And for me, just being that's always been a problem, working on Marvel Legends in the past, that there's always been this thing to justify why it needs to be pushed back from production. Why do we need to do so many figures? Why do we need to do new figures? Why do we need to have so many items in the line? And there's always been the need to try to justify and fight for that. Whereas clearly our community is growing, and we're still demanding for these things. So if there's a demand, why not supply the demand?
Right.
Yeah, when I was at Mattel, so many decisions were made, and you'll know this better than I do, David, but on literally the numbers. And I was designing a set, it was all color themed right, and it had a specific character to go with the set. And then they changed out the character because a new character was coming in. Colors are all wrong. Story doesn't fit. Even geographic location doesn't fit. But this character is popular. And it's like, well, you never gave this character a chance.
Right.
And I think when they try to placate to everyone, you miss the real important niche that is your original audience.
That's what it is. It's so many masters that have to be served, you know, at those larger companies. I mean, it's more than just the boys action figures. Is the games, the girls toys, the role play, the vehicles, you know what I mean? It's so many masters that have to be served. And then what happens is that you have like these item cut count, you know, and it's like, why?
Yeah.
But I think all of that led to the frustration as to why our community has been so vocal, not only in their voice, but also in their dollars as to supporting lines like Brutal Realm, you know, lines like, you know, the Bandito, like Cursed Dead, like, Mythic Legends. Like, you're starting to see a lot of these lines be supported, because basically there's been, to me, and this is just my opinion, a false sense of prophesizing as to the demise of action figures and their value or their even the commercial aspect behind them. It's just been a lack of support. Unless there's a movie, and then when there's a movie, those figures are so bland.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They
Oh my
have
God.
been lately.
Better
And
to
then
make
that-
a movie off the figure in the first
Yeah,
figure.
something original.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hence the rise of all
And
these
Brutal Realms
third-party
already taking it.
companies.
Exactly.
Go ahead.
Oh, to like to the next level, just with the accessories and the price point. I mean, like usually toys that have multiple hands or multiple heads, you're looking at close to $115. And the fact that this is at $30, really nice accessories, and just the fact that you guys care about that, and it makes you want to support that person way more comparison to these big companies that are just kind of like, here's the main brand, here's some little stuff with it, and here's like a little secret thing, and that's it. And it's like,
Here's Batman 832.
Yeah, right.
Another Spider-Man. What?
Yeah.
That
Oh my
was
gosh.
also another mantra that Jason and James was on, about keeping the price at a you know, keeping the value at a price range where it is affordable for everyone, you know. And they really, I mean, I really love these guys because they really pushed me to unlearn a lot of stuff, you know what I mean, that was so common. And you start asking yourself, then why does it have to be that way? You know, why do we have to have this particular price point, or this particular style, or this particular character? Like, they really pushed a lot of, you know what internally what a lot of people wanted, you know, and they just came out and did it.
That's really interesting. Jason, Eddie, David, and I all have backgrounds in toy design. Eddie and I went to Otis, where you literally get a degree in toy design. We've worked at the companies. Did you have a background in toy design, or is it just you just loved it? See, that is so fascinating to me, because the big companies are totally missing the fact that someone with not in the industry can make something that the industry obviously all wants.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if anything would have been different if we had been in toy design or graphic design or you know, any kind of art school. I mean,
I'm looking at it and I'm glad you're not, is what I know.
I know. And I'm just saying, like, what would have been different if we had done those things, if we had gone through that. My background is I'm a network engineer. I've been a network engineer since I joined the Marine Corps. I was a small computer system specialist, advanced network technician. I had 2 MOSs, and you know, I've been doing that for the last 30 years. And but I've also
thank
been collecting.
Thank you for holding guard over holding vigil over our freedoms. I appreciate that. My whole family's Marine Corps, so it's close to my heart.
My dad was a Marine, and then, you know, his brothers were Army and Navy. My grandfather Army, my great grandfather Army, my great great grandfather Army.
I bet there was some nice arguments at the dinner table over the Marine Corps Navy stuff for sure.
No, not at all.
There's great jokes.
My brothers, my dad's brothers, my dad and his brothers, they were all like very supportive of each other, of joining the military and supporting. But you know, for non-family members, we bust balls all the time.
Yeah.
Oh, hell yeah. We're part of the well, you guys are part of the Navy. Yeah, the men's department.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I told my dad told me that one years ago, and I dated this girl whose dad was the Navy, and I told her that the Marines is the men's department. And she comes back and she said, "Yeah, I told my dad what you said." He said I tried out for the Marines, but I scored too high on the IQ test. So good stuff. Thank you.
Yeah. It's
So-
all fun. I'm friends with a lot of Army, Navy, Air Force guys,
Yeah.
and Coast Guard, and we always bust each other's balls about it. So, but it's all fun and games because we all love each other.
Absolutely. My best friend was a Kiowa pilot for 20 years in the Army, and yep.
Yeah.
Well, I highly encourage people to check out the Brutal Realms Kickstarter page, or if you've got another spot where people can check out your
Still
designs.
pre-ordered, right?
Yeah, you can still we're still taking late backers on the Kickstarter, and
Excellent.
also through Big Bad Toy Store.
Awesome.
I have to share this other one though. This is kind of cool. I just came across this. You were talking about this earlier.
And the guys are also working
The
on
Lion
their-
Lord.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Let's kick
Huge-
it to 300,000,
tribute.
guys.
That is just such
really
the
like
metal
Jake.
version. I mean,
So one thing that not a lot of people know, this is the 1.0 body. This is not on the new body, but it still looks freaking awesome. And you can see on his forearms how the fur just is larger, right? It goes up over the elbows, and that fur piece is a gauntlet. I mean, it's part of him, and you can
Smart.
take it off. You can remove it and everything.
That's cool.
So we're gonna do that with all of our primal characters.
that's
Like,
really smart because
there.
then you can
Yeah.
put gauntlets on him as well if you
Right.
wanted.
And you can take those off, and you can put them on our regular male barbarian
Mhm.
characters. You know, if you want to give them like part beast mode, if you want.
I love how the leg
Simple yet
swivel is up
effective.
Yeah.
high in the thigh like
Yeah,
that.
Right. Like and that's what I mean by engineering. Like these guys really made things modular, you know, which was something that I always pushed for when I was doing mine, because I had to. Like I didn't have the budget to do a lot as far as body, so I had to make a common body and use as many accessories as I could to differentiate the look of the character.
yeah,
And these guys have really taken that to like
Oh,
another
that's awesome.
level.
yeah.
That
And
is
really,
awesome.
who paved the way for that are the folks over at Four Horsemen Studios with Mythic Legions and Cosmic Legions. I mean, they really like
I love it.
when you're able to like
Badass.
remove and replace all pieces, you know, everything. And like,
Yeah.
we need to do that with ours. We want to get as much playability, as much kit bashing, as much customizability as you can out of these figures, you know, at the lower price point.
Can we just say that we have Myra's Morgue and Midnight Madness's official approval?
Being a
Do the
nightmare.
voice.
I do love it.
Oh, yes, yeah.
All parts of it. The whole entire package.
I love your voice. I love your voice.
It's blowing up too. Like we're getting a lot of views on that stuff, and I just think it's great.
I've been listening.
It's inspiring.
That's awesome.
Wow,
That
this
is so
badass.
rad.
That's so cool. I mean, that's exactly up my alley of something I would want to collect.
Yeah, fantasy.
And you see how the traps, you know, are
Yeah.
like
Huge,
up.
yeah.
So we're gonna have an overlay on top of the current
Body.
on top of the current body to make it look like that.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
it's
is
great.
so-
Yep. So for gauntlets can come off, that overlay can come off, and also
Oh, you could put a cape on him later.
Yeah.
There's so many
Yeah.
directions
There's so
you
many
can go
things.
with an idea like that. Yeah.
and General Grimskull is going to have a soft goods cape designed by C. Jessam, who does all the soft goods for the Four Horsemen guys.
So smart.
And it's soft goods and has the wire all the way around, and you could be able to take it off and put it on any other character.
Wow. That's so
Well,
smart.
it looks like a lot of your accessory packs are about $5. Is that going to be pretty much across all the different accessory packs?
Yeah, and the accessory packs were only available through the Kickstarter.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're not offering them yet on any other
market.
you know,
and
market.
sports.
Collectibles.
Not yet.
That's the guy I'm a fan of. This guy's kind of dope.
Monkey King, yeah. And you know the Black Myth Wukong, that video game just came out, and
Yeah.
all the third party companies and then Mythic Legions released their version of
Yeah, a lot
Monkey
of
King.
figures just dropped. Yeah,
Yeah, so we were like, yeah, let's do our own.
this one looks rad.
Badass.
And even the calves, where the greaves would be, those are going to be excess fur, and you'll be able to take those off, I believe, as
yes.
well. Is what we're thinking about doing.
Man, definitely hit all those C's like Dave likes to do. So you know,
Oh,
when
the
you
three
have the-
C's.
Yeah,
That's
we talked
right.
about
That's
them
That's
already.
right.
About
Tell them what
them,
it is,
and
Vonner.
collectability, connectability, and customization. The three
Yeah.
C's.
Gotta
That's my
have it.
philosophy to building great action figures.
Yeah.
You forgot the
yeah.
fourth C.
And
Culture.
action vehicles.
And action vehicles, you know, which is
But then there's
on the
culture,
turn.
cash,
No, you get it all, man.
I mean, we can keep going. We can keep
Yeah.
adding on.
Just 3 is easy to remember.
right.
Let me see if I can pop over here to Instagram and see if we got.
But
any,
yeah, man, these are just so fun to
we
be
got-
able to work on.
What's up, Kel?
Oh, I was just popping on Instagram. We've had a lot of people join, but it doesn't look like a lot of comments. I was just going to see if anybody had any questions. But
Yeah, so
if you're
as
on
we kinda
Instagram,
wrap it
join
up,
us on YouTube.
And you
how
know,
has
just to
life
add
has
on too,
changed?
you know,
I just don't want to go because I'm going to cough on him. He's going to get sick. Like,
Yeah.
it's that contagious.
How
Oh,
the
someone's-
gym-
Yeah.
I know.
Warhawk, I'm gonna need a leather jacket and jeans for that werewolf. LOL.
Hey, man, the wheels are turning.
I-
So
And 80s fans are gonna ask, does he
but
have
you know
nards?
what I was going to say. What I was going to say is, man, like the guys are also, you know, already thinking not just with the action figures, but you know, there's a comic book also going to be coming. You know, thinking of video games, thinking of all the different ways to actually push, you know, this forward into different, and no pun intended, but a pun intended, into different realms, you know,
Yeah.
where of pop culture, you know.
right, just I mean, in the way of collecting, Marvel Legends has, you know, they have their movies, they have comic books, they have, you know, video games, board games, trading cards. They're smart. They have diversified. And He-Man, they just have an old 80s. They have from the early 2000s, and now they have their recent
Netflix ones
and
and
Netflix, but yeah, Netflix. But I mean,
animated series.
we need to have a He-Man game. We need to have freaking video games of
I mean,
He-Man.
that's like long overdue.
Open world He-Man game.
yeah.
Imagine that.
Yes, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, man. That's what
I'm sure Kelly's got ideas for
world.
sound.
I don't even want to talk
Marvel
about
realms.
games and action figures.
Yeah, so with
I
our
got some
line,
things
we
cooking.
wanted to tie our characters with like how can we make collectors out of the teens and the kids growing up now? They want to be they love their video games. I mean, they just and me. I mean, I love toys growing up, but if I saw one of my toys on a video game, I had to have that video game. Do you guys remember the Avengers for the NES?
Yep.
That game was so freaking hard. Batman was so freaking hard for the NES. But I had to have them
TMNT.
because oh man, dude, brutal. That game was freaking hard.
And even the battling trading card games, you know, it's like, you know, this is really ripe for that. I'm kind of, you know, I'm on the side of I'm kind of happy that certain, you know, major brands haven't done that, because now we can, you know, we can own that road. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, we can go in there and we can own that, and so like there's so many things that are planned and that we're working on that really tap into, you know, all those different genres.
Yep. I think it's just getting started as far as like toy photography too. I mean, as other generations get a little older and want to revisit their toys again, I think it's just ripe for growth. And yeah, I want to talk to Chet about that too. Well, that sounds awesome, guys. I think unless we have any more questions, that's a pretty good show.
Yeah, no, Jason, thank you so much for joining us. Your
Jason, thank you.
It gives me a lot of like good 80s nostalgia, you know. I mean,
Oh man,
growing up, me and my dad, like, well, when my mom didn't realize, we were watching Commando and Conan and
Commando.
and those movies back then, they were brutal.
They were,
so-
yeah, they
And,
were, and they were PG-13, weren't they?
Yeah, I know, right?
Most of them are, but
Terminator wasn't Terminator 13.
I don't think so. But either way, you know,
Either way.
He-Man. I
mean, hey, there was a RoboCop cartoon, man.
Yeah.
I mean,
I was watching it the other day.
Yeah.
No, but I would divide my time between playing with He-Man and G.I. Joe. Honestly,
G.I. Joe, yeah.
the two
And
ones.
on a personal note, I want to say thank you for reconnecting me with David Vonner. We had worked together at Mattel. Would see each other in passing and be in brainstorms, but man, what a gift to our project that has been, and appreciate both you guys very much. And Grim Spectre, you have been you've been on the Oddfrog thing for a long time. We've seen you on there, so appreciate that. Appreciate the support.
I'm on the Oddfrog train.
He was like, man, you got to get up on these guys, man. They're really cool. They got something going on. And then it was like, wait a minute, Kelly. Yo, we work together, so it was like we were ships passing through the night. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, this is, and that's another thing that I love, man, is that we're kind of building our like our team. You know what I'm saying? Like a team outside of a team. Like the umbrella.
It's a building community, really,
right.
And like what one team may not be able to do, the other team can do for them, and yeah, I see that vision, David, for sure.
Yeah. So I mean, this has just been great. I can't thank all you guys enough, for just believing in me and believing in the community and the vision of where we want to go. And I know that there's even more that we can do and more that we can uncover and just really make this beneficial for everyone involved. It could be really good, great thing.
And real quick before we go, I just want to mention before people start popping out, we're going to show a little video of the Bandito because we just went to production, and it'd be a sin not to mention it because it went so fast the other day that we had planned the show before we went to production. So I just want to
we got it. And also Bandito Radio is going to be dope.
That's right. That's right. We're launching that, I think, on the 12th, I believe. Yep. And
we got to get a Brutal Realm audio show on there.
Soundtrack on.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Maybe we'll do some Robert E. Howard radio shows in honor.
Are there barbarian old school radio shows?
I was just going to say there's a lot of old Robert E. Howard stuff. I'll have to see if it's usable for us. But yeah,
that'd be sweet.
Hey, let me play this quick video.
Go do it.
So yeah, that's it, guys. We're going to production.
Make it happen.
Many collectors have been securing their free pre-orders. We've been getting lots of new orders, and we just want to keep that ball rolling. Like David said, we're in the Chinese Lunar New Year right now, so we've got a couple weeks where we can just collect all the pre-orders and get it into production. It's been ready to go for a long time, so it's just crossing that finishing line now. But we wanted to mention that.
Hit the gas, baby.
Exactly. So once again,
one other mention, Kel, for Deadly.
Oh yeah, and guys, our great friend and member of the team here, Oddfrog Entertainment, Matt of Deadly Dioramas, has got some very serious health conditions, and we're all trying to pull together as a community to help him out right now. This is his GoFundMe.
Put a link in the comments. I'll repost it as well.
There's a link in the comments, and we'll reshare it to our stories on Instagram and stuff like that too. But any help for Deadly would be great. He is an absolute wonderful human being. He helps everybody with their projects. So, if you guys can show some love and help out Deadly, we'd really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Mikey.
Yeah.
Hey, Jason, thank you so much for being here. What a great show. What great insights into your amazing product. We're all excited about it. I'm definitely going to order some. So appreciate you being here very, very
definitely
much.
A couple I'm going to grab.
David, as always, we love and appreciate you, sir. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you so much.
And Killer Kawaii Design, thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Myra.
Talking to a mic that doesn't cut off.
It's really nice to have Jason in the community because he keeps the standards high, which pushes us to keep our standards high. And it'd be really cool to see a vehicle that we can make for him. I mean, that fun barbaric world. I mean, that would be a really fun, fun vehicle we could make for that. So I hope we keep in contact in the future. And of course, Vonner, you're just a wonderful human being. I don't really have to say it. You're just an all-star being. So we appreciate you so much. And I'll see you later, Mikey and Eddie.
Yeah, we'll be around.
All right. Thanks
Thanks,
everyone
guys.
for watching.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for the
guys.
comments. Smash that like button.
Oh,
Let's
yeah.
get
That's
brutal.
another thing I forgot to mention. We're at 500 subscribers just today. So that's pretty
Nice.
cool.
Yeah. Woo, woo,
Thanks,
woo.
guys.
Awesome.